can't chew, can't talk properly like you used to, can't even sing the way you used to.
You cannot smile and you cannot engage anyone.
I had a lady who had been to 3 hospitals and was not helped, and no oral surgeon or dentist would see her because of economics. She couldn't afford it. Her mouth was swelled, I would say out about 2 to 2.5 inches, and her jaw was locked shut.
They come in and they're just, pain is just etched on their faces.
And how hard it is on children today in school to be bullied. Think about when their teeth are bad. It's hard enough when they're poor.
We have a completely preventable situation, economically preventable, and it has escalated into an economically unaffordable situation.
People's circumstances aren't always their fault, and we can't sit in judgment of where they find themselves.
People are hurting financially. Their teeth are the first thing they neglect. I mean, you've got to feed your kids. You've got to pay your electric bill. You've got to pay your mortgage if there's any hope you're going to hang on to your house.
And even now, some of the people who were great contributors in the building profession 6 years ago are now recipients of care because they don't have any money.
And they're like a house that has gone into disrepair. They need a lot of work to catch back up to where they've been.
One patient confided in her that she felt invisible because nobody wanted to help her. Nobody wanted to look at her because her teeth were so ugly. And that after she went to the clinic and was treated, she didn't feel invisible anymore. She felt like she was a real person.
We change lives, and we have the motto, we change lives one tooth at a time, and these guys do it.
You're a human being. You're in pain. I can help.
What this clinic has allowed me to do is to practice purely out of love.
It all started in the spring of 2003 in the outreach committee of the Church of the Good Shepherd here in Cashiers. And we were looking for a way to help Hispanic workers who were pouring into the area at the time.
A medical van showed up in Cashiers to offer medical and dental care. And in 2 days, they saw all the people who were there for medical reasons and saw a dozen or so that were there for dental care and left 150, 200 people standing in the rain when the van pulled away.
And I remember at the end of that, there was one woman who had come 3 nights in a row with her children, really wanted her children to be seen, and was so upset that she walked away crying because none of the nights was she able to get her children near to the dentist.
After that first weekend in 2003, there was a core group of people who put their heads together and said, we need to figure out how to meet this desperate need for dentistry in this area.
That led to an effort really spearheaded by Susan and Tom Smith, who is our founding dentist.
And she and David Beam, the preacher at the Methodist Church, came to me and said, what do we need to do? So I said, you need a physical plant and you need chairs and a working environment that's pleasant and efficient to do dentistry in.
She bought into the commitment that a freestanding dental clinic could be created. And then she was the prime motivator to get Dr. Tom Smith to go out and find equipment.
He collected enough to furnish an office pretty well and told Susan and the others that you find a permanent home for this and I'll come use this equipment there.
And it was at about that time that a dental office opened up for sale. It was local dentist John Gallagher who decided to retire and sell his practice.
And during the clinic time in 2003, my mother had died.
And she'd been pouring herself heart and soul into this project for, I think, close to 18 months at that point. Her mother died and left her an inheritance.
And I talked to David Beam about it. I talked to God about it. And I said, is this really what I'm supposed to do with this money?
And Susan used her inheritance money from her mother's death and purchased that facility.
The definition of a professional is someone who has a higher standard of learning and is licensed by society, but agrees that he will do for society what is in the best interest of the person he serves, the patient, rather than his own best interest.
My whole basis for giving time at the clinic was totally a private resolution between me and the Lord, okay, that I was going to do this in thanks for what Jesus did for me 2,000 years ago.
I feel like it was sort of a gift that was given to me, and I just want to give back some.
I love being involved in free dentistry. I love being able to look at somebody, see what they need to do, and be able to do it.
And I love sharing my time with these patients. I mean, not only have we changed their life, but they've changed mine as well.
As a dental assistant in that place, and to work as closely as we all do with patients, and to feel the sense of kinship and camaraderie that I feel with the people I work with, is a humbling experience.
Working as a dental assistant with the dentist we have and with the patients that we have is probably one of the most rewarding experiences I've had in a long, long time.
It's such an evolving organization. Much of what we do depends upon what the dentists want to do. We never in our lives dreamed that a dentist would walk in the door and want to do TMJ splints.
It's very hard to keep dental clinics going when you don't have that central dentist who's willing to work a lot of hours, stay with you day in, day out, year in, year out.
When you work in the dental clinic, Karen makes sure that you have anything and everything you need.
Endodontists who work there are given the best and the finest endodontic equipment. We even have an endodontic microscope that was donated to the clinic by another dentist. So
I never, ever thought that it could have advanced the way that it did. Went from using that old equipment and making do with one x-ray head to now having x-ray units in all the rooms and a Panorex unit and a cephalometric unit and even a root canal microscope for our specialist that comes in from Atlanta. I never thought that this could get to where it is.
That's one of the most fun things about working at the clinic is the Fraternal Order of the Tooth Fairies. The whole idea was, I think, the brainchild of Ron and Kay Keller, and I suspect it was probably mostly Kay's idea.
One of the people in the back of the room suggested that a gala would fall flat on its face unless there was a tooth fairy involved. Everybody in the group just raised their hands in unanimous support, and then they realized that they had no idea who was willing to be a tooth fairy. I turned around to the group and my wife was pointing at me.
Ron is a former professional baseball player. I think he used to pitch for the Minnesota Twins.
My name's Edward Morris. I'm a researcher. Whatever reason, ended up coming in contact with a fellow by the name of Ron Keller, who's I met coming into the Country Club of Sapphire Valley one day, and he had a pink tutu on. What are we? We're part of the public relations, the PR for the community. Any medical system and service is locked behind four walls. And it's very hard for them to get out. No matter how good they are, it's very hard to get outside of that. You have a bunch of silly fools walking, willing to get dressed and wander out into the public. Well, they see the tooth fairy, and they see one, and they see two, and they see three, and they see four, and they see 5 and 6 tooth fairies. And then somebody's going to say, well, where are they from? Well, they're from the free dental clinic. You've gotten all you need. Well, what about the free dental clinic? Well, the free dental clinics were so, now there's enough people. This is where you go and you can have people who really care take care of your teeth.
I was first approached by our principal at the time because the Free Dental Clinic and Rotary had asked us if we would be interested in providing this service. And when they presented it to us, it was a win all the way around situation. It was almost no involvement on our part. It required minutes a week, and the payoff was just huge.
I was in the Rotary Club at the time, and I came up with a concept of why don't we run a children's dental program in our 2 local schools here.
Robbie was able to work with us, develop a template very similar to what Cashier's Rotary did. It was attractive to the Highlands Rotary, and now the Highlands School, K through 5, now has, and for the last year and a half, has a fluoridation program.
After 3 going on to 4 years, I think we're instilling a fair amount of good dental practices with the kids. And we want to continue that. And we're collecting a lot of data, and this year's results so far has been the best of the years that we've collected.
The thought is if we can get them early enough, get the intervention going, then we won't have these people coming in their 20s and 30s expecting to lose all their teeth. They call it their third set, their baby teeth, their adult teeth, and their dentures.
And anyone that can write a grant that can help them fund a program like this in their town, I couldn't tell you how big the payoff is. I see kids every day that are healthier because their dental health is taken care of. It affects their overall health. It affects how they take care of themselves at home and at school, and it affects their education.
It's become, over time, the North Carolina Missions of Mercy Clinic, and they travel from city to city, set up huge dental clinics in big facilities, and treat 300 and sometimes even 400 people over the course of a weekend.
This is a cooperative effort between the North Carolina Dental Society, which runs the Mission of Mercy program, the Rotary District that serves this area, and the Blue Ridge Free Dental Clinic.
NC Mom will furnish the equipment as it does for many of its free dental clinic events. Rotary will be furnishing a lot of the service people, the working people.
Being able to sponsor this is another prong in our organization. We can only see so many people in the office. We have a waiting list at any one point in time, 300-400 people that are trying to get in. Missions of Mercy can knock out 300, 400, 500 people in one weekend. If we're really successful in attracting the number of dentists we hope we can, we might be able to see as many as 1,000 people over one weekend.
Dear Dr. McDonald, I'm glad you helped me. Love.
Dear Dr. McDonald, thank you for fixing my teeth. Love.
Dear Doctor, and my teeth feel good now. Love.
I would never have been able to get my teeth pulled if it hadn't been for you. When I think of you, I think of angels, because you are angels doing God's work.
I mean, we're very interested, truly interested in their lives and the way that they live and what they need and what they want. And we really try to fit all of their needs.
We do have a crisis in this area, I think. It's a cultural crisis, it's a medical crisis, it's a dental crisis, it's a fiscal crisis. Everybody's got a fiscal crisis.
Very good to be involved when you can see exactly where everything goes. You know where the money comes from, and you know where it goes, and you know what it yields. And that's different than so many types of charities where you just write a check and you never get involved, you never see the human face of what happens.
there's just an awful lot of effort put in by the executive board, by the executive directors, and so forth. And we've been fortunate, and I think there is some divine providence in that. Birds of a feather flock together, but grace helps.
It wasn't just dentists who got this started, it was lay people. And it always amazed me that they were observant enough to see the need and then follow through with it.
I would also like to say that this is a God thing, because I was never allowed to rest.
Still church supported, church sponsored. Churches hold dental Sundays for us. God runs through our clinic, and we have a lot of God moments in our clinic.
It's exciting to see our little clinic grow to the point to be able to help these people so that they can grow.
To go into Ingalls or to another store and have somebody all of a sudden throw their arms around you and say, Dr. Smith. And I used to be scared, but I'm not scared anymore. That's a good thing.
And if it wasn't for this clinic, I couldn't give a smile. From October to December, I had no smile. And they gave me my smile back. And now I give my smile to everybody again.
I just feel like that being out in the public now, when people look at me, they're not laughing at me.
I can't think of too many other things that you could write a check for that you would ever feel better about, ever feel better about. And the payoff is tremendous.
I got to say that there's a higher power working here. Thank you for going.
Yeah. You're welcome.
One tooth at a time.
And it takes a lot of humility for a colonel in the Marines to sit next to a Spec 5 Army guy and work well together.
Yeah, there's nothing like putting words in your person's mouth.
Wait a minute.
But I started out as a grunt laborer.
And grown-up men wearing tutus, and you got to pay to get in that club. You know, it's great. These guys pay money to wear tutus and.
Hello, I'm Dr. Pete Dawson, and I'm here to encourage support for one of the most needed and best organized efforts to serve the less fortunate neighbors that we have here in Western North Carolina. And it's an area where help is needed very badly. Good dental care is an intensely personal health service. And through an exceptional synergy fostered by the Rotary Club and volunteers from Western North Carolina, many of our less fortunate neighbors who are in serious need of dental treatment now have access to quality dental care. Top dentists from around the state have stepped up to volunteer a broad spectrum of services in a completely equipped clinic, managed by an outstanding staff and in a warm, very caring, cheerful atmosphere. I just wish everyone could see the joyful effect of having a comfortable mouth and a pretty smile on patients who have lived too long with the pain and embarrassment of bad teeth, or ugly teeth, or abscessed teeth. It's truly heartwarming to see the level of quality care being offered. and the dramatic effect of lives being changed. The community has stepped up with exceptional support. Many busy dentists have donated their time and talents, but the need is great. More dentists could fill unmet needs. I can promise that serving in the free dental clinic will be a very rewarding way to share your blessings. So please come and take a look.